Welcome to Dan's Talks. My guest today is Blythe Danner, the actress who is out here in the Hamptons, and I last saw her at the Artist Writers Game, which was she was there as was I.
I wasn't playing though.
No, nor was I, or umpiring. I have done that in the past. In any case, we're here to chat and for the next 20 minutes, and I know that you've had quite a career. I was more than I ever imagined you would have.
No.
Uh, you've won Emmys and Broadway show awards, and I was just thinking of one director in particular you worked with who we was John Cassavetes a long time ago, who I knew and admired at that time, and loved his experimental works, and I wondered what he was really like on set.
It was great. He was wonderful, but he was actually playing my husband who
Oh,
was trying to kill me. It was it was that Peter Falk show, that wonderful Peter, what was it called? You know, it was on for years. Oh boy.
and you went to Bard. Where is Bard? I know it's
Bard is above Poughkeepsie. It's on the Hudson. It's beautiful, beautiful campus.
and tell me a little bit about where you grew up and your family.
I grew up in Philadelphia. My dad was a banker who was known as the singing banker in Philadelphia because he had a beautiful tenor voice. He'd sing with the Philadelphia Chamber Orchestra. He met my mother, who had a beautiful voice. They sang together. I think it was the Choral Arts Society. And I was always inspired by them because they do these wonderful shows at the PTA and were glamorous and with a tuxedo and I think that was my first gowns, and I think that was my first hint that I might want to be a part of this world of fantasy and singing. And
What was your first? What was your first role that you ever did that the people could watch?
oh gosh, well, on stage it was Butterflies Are Free, but I didn't do the movie. I won a Tony for that, but Goldie Hawn did the movie. Luckily, I'm not a bitter, jealous person because a lot of the projects I was in, stars did, which was fine. And I just thought, oh, I'm just glad it's getting done. I know it sounds a little unbelievable and probably trying to be anti-narcissistic, but was really born, I think, with not a very competitive spirit, which is why I am now retired.
Yes, I guess we all say that. Uh, one of my favorite movies you were in was Meet the Parents.
Oh my gosh.
That was a lovely show.
Three of them. I just sort of was in the background going, hello. But it was a lot of fun. There are three of them. The last one I don't think was quite as much.
Did you were you happier doing TV, movies, or Broadway? Which did you?
Theater.
Why is that?
I think, I have a wonderful quote that I'm going to read. I think I told you that it was Mercedes' rule. And
Yes.
really says it for me. Theater's the hardest, pays the worst, but it's the one you love. It's where you have the power, the priestly power, to connect with other breathing people in the room. The theater comes out of the temple. It came out of worship. It has a vibration to it. I think it says it all, and much better than I could. Beautiful way Mercedes put that.
Well, she's out here too, and it's nice to have you all here. And
Just ran into her, forgotten where. I think it was at a party, I guess.
oh, I know. What I wondered was, particularly on Broadway and theaters elsewhere, we watched Mel Brooks' Frankenstein yesterday. But they're doing the same thing over and over. Does it get worn out, or do you just become part of it?
Well, in a theater piece, you're doing it every night. I mean, you fall in love with it. If now, once in a while, we have an experience that maybe that doesn't happen. But I was a year in Butterflies Are Free, and I was in Betrayal, a wonderful, oh, good Lord. My memory gets worse and worse. But Harold Pinter's Betrayal.
Yep.
Did that for quite a few months, and you find there's new stuff. Most actors say this. If you're working with a great partner who picks up on what you're doing, that might be an iota difference from the night before. Oftentimes, a rhythm might evolve, or a new way of moving might evolve, or blocking might change. I mean, it's very, very thrilling when you're not just glued to the spot and the same way of saying the line every night. And I don't think people who really love what they're doing ever do that. You don't stand there without any life going on. You become your character, hopefully.
Did you study theater at Bard, or
Yeah,
afterward learn to do it?
wonderful, wonderful bar teachers. Yes, there was really, really fun. As a matter of fact, it's funny, June Squibb, who's I think 94 and still about to do another movie, was married to one of my teachers at Bard, Charlie Kakasakis, and we used to make a silly joke that it meant cheats at checkers. It's great. But I was at a film named I'll See You in My Dreams, and June was in it too. It's a really charming film about four old ladies going through the old stuff, the end of life stuff. But it was very fun. We had a great cast, and June was in it, and she's still going strong.
Did I also read that you've been active as an environmentalist, and I wondered if you could talk
Yeah.
about that for a few minutes.
Well, my grandfather, I think I was inspired by him. He was born as a Mennonite, but went into the Presbyterian faith. I think his Mennonite background influenced him greatly, because everything, he would come and plant a garden for us every spring, never used anything toxic. Everything was pure, and back then with DNA all around, I mean, DDT. There was none of that. He was a real pure soul and gardener. And I think I became very indoctrinated by that, and have been on several boards, the Union of Concerned Scientists, environmental advocates, and I'm still very impassioned about it all. But I'm very happy with the new generation, several generations behind mine, who have taken it up as a passion and making a real difference. It's very heartening to see that. With climate change, it's some
It
people
is.
beyond it, but I think there's hope as long as the passion is there beyond.
Yes, I think so. What talk about your time in the Hamptons. How did you discover this joint?
Oh, well, not to name drop, but Steven Spielberg was very, very close to our family, and my husband directed Kate Capshaw in a film, and he was so close, became so close that he actually gave her away at our wedding.
Oh,
So we always came out here 4th of July and Thanksgiving, and now my daughter and I have I built a geothermal, solar thermal house near my daughter. And we're dyed in the wool. I just voted for the first time in East Hampton. I'm against it. So I'm thrilled to be I work a little bit at the Springs Food Pantry, and I want to become more part of the community. I love it here.
what did you find that was so attractive here?
Well, not the celebrity part of it, really, even though I'm mentioning celebrities, and my daughter, of course, is quite in her own extraordinary fashion, has done so much with her movies, Oscars, and now Goop. But I think she's going to do another movie, which I'm very excited about. I think it's the piece, especially off season. You just have to grit your teeth in the summer and say, wherever you are in a beautiful, I remember being in Spain several years ago, it's going to be this way, wherever you are at a really popular spot near the water in the summer. It's going to be bumper to bumper, and you just have to go, aha, all right, it'll be better in the fall.
And
Even though a lot of people have moved out here after COVID, I think it's just a heavenly place. Where else can you see sunsets like this and enjoy the birds? I feed the beads and the birds.
so do we. Yeah, it's quite something. I've been here for most of my life, actually, but
Oh, lucky you.
yeah, in a way, I guess. And I've been in as extras in just some of the movies that were made out here. I thought it was great fun.
And I
Actually,
bet they love your hat.
well, I didn't wear my hat. They had me wearing whatever it was I needed to wear.
Of course, but I think this is so symbolizes you. It's so beautiful.
That's why I asked you about that, about the uh, the movies versus Broadway and so forth, because a lot of so much of what we did and what you do and what your daughter does, um, you do it over and over when it's in the movies. I think we did a scene for
Yeah.
a movie with John Lowe, I think it was, forget, in West Hampton, and we sat in a restaurant. I was a diner, and we did it over and over and over and over and over. There was a moth in my salad, and I didn't know
Oh,
about him because we didn't actually eat.
that's,
But
I was very glad actually to start in the theater, and that's in my bones. I think a lot of people get tired of the retakes and retakes and retakes. I was not ever really trained in movie acting, and have done it in bits and starts, except for See You in My Dreams. I've never had a lead in a movie before, so that was kind of shot very quickly and low budget. That's a great way to go because I think, the producers and directors want you to get through it quickly to save a lot of money. And in the long run, I think it's better for the actors because they get to do it and you just a couple of times, then you got to move on.
that's true. That's true. Did can you think of a particular time in making a performance, or it's so interesting you can't, it was some interesting thing happened that
My
is in
gosh,
your mind? Anecdotes are great.
too many to count, but my son, we pressured him to do something at Williamstown. He really didn't want to do it, but we needed a little boy. And he fell asleep, and our friend, sadly gone, Edward Herman, and I were playing in a Molnar play. And Jake was asleep in Edward's arms, and Edward went up. The expression is he went up. In other words, he forgot his lines completely. And Jake, lying asleep in his arms, whispered his line to him. And he got through it and all was well. And Jake came off the stage. And I said, Jake, you've saved the day. Do you want to be an actor? He said, are you kidding, Mom? You have to remember everybody's lines. That was funny. We've had so many, it's hard to count them. Things catching on fire, on a pillow caught on fire once by Keir Delay was supposed to be blind, but he had a cigarette and it fell in a pillow and I didn't see it was on fire. But luckily we had an active sink on stage. So when I finally saw it, I went over to the sink and put out the fire. Oh
Well,
my gosh.
I'm sure you've experienced times when somebody simply froze and just couldn't figure out what they were supposed to do or didn't go up in time.
I've done that, I'm ashamed to say.
Oh,
I've never been good at learning my lines. I work and still they'll go out of my head.
and what do you like to do outdoors here? And
Oh,
now that you're here, what do
what
you?
don't I like to do? I mean, you just wake up in the morning. I'm always awake, usually when the sun's coming up, which is a joyful thing. So I get to see it going up and going down, as we did at Louse Point the other night. You know, swimming, I used to be the captain of my swimming team when I was at school. Love to swim, never tire of that. We go down to the beach after the sun is not so hot usually.
Yeah.
Visit, you know, we have lovely friends out here. I feel so fortunate. Um, I haven't gone clamming, although I know some of my family likes to.
Oh, what town are you in? What do you call home out here?
I'm against it. I'm
Uh,
against.
yeah, where the Nazis landed,
Oh my gosh, yes, we go. I went to that once, that reoccurring, what do they call it? Replay.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, very,
They
very.
did, they looked like a bunch of scavengers when they did it, but I wish they would continue that because it was kind of fun.
Oh, have they? I mean, I went up maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
They
I know
stopped
they
it.
stopped doing it, and I think they should revive it
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's so fun. Have you been out to Montauk and been all over?
Oh, yeah, all over. As a matter of fact, we discovered for the first time a friend at the food pantry told me to go to Maidstone Park and
Yeah,
to drive along Gerard Drive. And friends that are living there, by the way, I had no idea that existed. It
yeah.
was wonderful. Just yesterday.
That was a big development. I don't mean a development's wrong word, but it was those people lived out there at the beginning when the first settlers arrived, and there's that road called Springs Fireplace Road, and
Yes.
Fireplace is the beach out there, and the reason they called it that was because there were people on farms on Gardiner's Island then. And if one of them needed something or there was no way to communicate that far away, so they did arrangements where if you wanted some attention or a boat to come to get something, you built a fire on the beach.
No kidding. Wow.
That's how they communicated that. So that's the fireplace, and that's why they call it that.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you told me that because I do like to watch some of the history programs on LTV. They have a lot of programs about the history here, which I love.
The history of this place is astonishing. Everything from Captain Kidd to Teddy Roosevelt, and it's just quite something.
I did a friend of mine is writing a play, Lucy Boyle, who is Peter Boyle's daughter. Her name was Goody.
Goody garlic.
The Witcher name was Goody Garlic, and I read that part in Lucy's play. And I
Yeah,
think it's going to become a wonderful piece. Lucy Boyle has written it. I think it's called Goody Garlic. I'm not sure.
yes, and of course Steven Spielberg made the movie about the Amistad.
Yes.
That was it's hard to beat that. The slaves take over the ship, and
Wow.
and a former president rises to defend them in court in 1840 in Connecticut. For the Spaniards wanted them back. It was quite something.
I saw that film. I thought it was wonderful. Yeah. Good
Glad to
history.
hear
I
that.
love history lessons.
So, do you garden also as well as take care of the
I,
birds?
I'm trying very hard, and I worked all late winter and early spring in planting pollinators. I'm trying to get all the things that the birds and the bees. Well, you know, we're having a really problem. If you'll notice when you're driving, there are no more insects on your windshield
Hmm.
because with climate change, it's been a disaster. You know, so many, and also toxins. Too many people are trying to put fertilizers on their lawns, and they should let them go naturally. Work with a friend, Edwina Van Gaal, who's promoting the perfect lawns without toxins, because the toxins in spraying and fertilizers kill the good insects. And so that's why we have a dearth of insects now. All the dangers have unfortunately have come to be. And so I'm trying to just do pollinators and use no fertilizers
Yeah.
or the bad kind.
Well, thank you for being on the show. I guess that you have to call it. It's just a
I
conversation.
enjoyed it talking to you very much.
I enjoyed it very much, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you. And we love your paper's fantastic. How many years now?
64.
Wow. Keep going. It's great.
I enjoy it. We'll talk soon.